Pixar's Lightyear finally hit theaters, and it's got everything fans hoped for. A good story, stunning visuals, and of course, Easter eggs. If you've watched your fair share of Pixar movies, you'd know that the studio loves hiding clever little details into all their films. In today's video, we've rounded up everything you might have missed in Lightyear. If you haven't watched the movie yet, here's a spoiler alert. Now that that's out of the way, to Easter eggs and beyond! First off, we have Pixar's favorite alphanumeric code, A113. Now this right here is sort of a personal favorite when it comes to Easter eggs. The studio always finds a way to sneak in A113 in all its films. But did you know it's not so much of a reference as it is an inside joke? There's actually a little story behind it. You see, the mysterious code is actually a nod to the character animation classroom at Cal Arts. Interestingly enough, many of the studio's directors took classes at the famous school, so it's kind of like a nod to their roots. You can spot it in some of the studio's earliest releases, including A Bug's Life and, of course, 1995's Toy Story. If you couldn't find it in Lightyear, don't worry, we've got you covered. It wouldn't be an Easter egg if it was easy to spot. Okay, that's debatable, but Pixar does like to play around with its fans and sometimes really hides its most favorite eggs in the most unusual places. For Lightyear, you'll find A113 outside of Alicia's office window, printed on another building. Next up, there's the super famous pizza delivery truck that found its way into the Lightyear movie. Speaking of favorites, apparently Pixar has quite a few Easter eggs it likes to sneak into all its films, and one of them is the very famous Pizza Planet truck from the original Toy Story franchise. The infamous delivery truck has made an appearance in so many of the studio's feature films that you can probably spot it a mile away. Of course, fans were pretty curious to see how the pizza truck would fit in Lightyear, especially since it's not really set on Earth and all, but Pixar did not disappoint. You'll spot the delivery truck parked in an empty lot when Buzz is speeding up to his ship with Socks by his side. Notice all the parked cars in the distance when he drives by. That's where you'll find the familiar truck. Although you might have to pause to catch it, because it isn't one of the most obvious Easter eggs in the film. So yeah, you'll really have to look for it before you can spot a truck of the same shape and color as the one in Toy Story. But we gotta say, we're impressed by this truck's delivery route. It's not easy delivery all across Pixar's universe. Let's move on to references from the film that started it all for Buzz Lightyear. Since Lightyear is a spin-off of one of the most popular animated movies ever, it's filled to the brim with Toy Story references. Considering that's what started it all for Buzz, we're not entirely surprised that Pixar decided to sneak in a few callbacks to some of the most iconic moments of the franchise. So remember the road crossing scene from Toy Story 2? Considering it's been 23 years since it came out, here's a little refresher. After Woody gets toy-napped by Al from Al's Toy Barn, Buzz and the entire gang of toys gear up for one of the best rescue missions ever with the iconic orange traffic cones. You'll find a clever little callback to this exact moment in Lightyear. If you go back to the scene where Buzz and his new pals find themselves trapped in big capture cones, which just so happen to be orange colored. That's not all, folks. Pixar also snuck in a little Easter egg from Toy Story 1, which involves yet another meaningful letter-number combo. Take a closer look at Buzz's ship that he flies at the beginning. You'll notice SC01TS written on the side of it, which stands for Star Command No. 1 Toy Story. Now that's called detail. Then we have a sneaky cameo of our favorite snowman from Disney. Not sure if you know this, but Pixar and Disney are sister companies. No wonder they churn out one animated hit after another. So naturally, some Disney characters find their way into the Pixar universe, and honestly, we kind of live for those moments. There's nothing quite as exciting as a crossover, even if it's just a tiny Easter egg. In Lightyear, however, you'll have to be really eagle-eyed to spot the most popular little snowman in the world. If you haven't caught on to who we're referring to, it's the carrot-nosed summer-lovin' snowman from Frozen. When Turn Up the Ship, as Buzz calls it, lands on the new planet, take a closer look at the trees and rocks. If you pause at just the right moment, you'll spot a very recognizable silhouette of Olaf's head, complete with twig arms and all hidden in there. Pretty cool. We do wonder what he was doing there though. Moving on, we spotted another of Pixar's favorite numbers. Whether you've noticed or not, the number 42 has been one of the studio's unexplained Easter eggs for decades. It actually dates way back to Finding Nemo's famous address, P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney. So apparently, die-hard fans think that Pixar's obsession with the number comes from its relation with the Douglas Adams book Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and to Lewis Carroll's Rule 42 in Alice in Wonderland. Interestingly enough, Lightyear is the 6th recorded film in Pixar's universe universe that featured the number 42, and it was one of the most glaring Easter eggs in the movie. You can spot it easily on Izzy's spacesuit. Turns out 42 is pretty significant for Buzz Lightyear himself because he flew Star Cruiser number 42 in the TV series Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. They sure do love their numbers. And we also found something hidden in the stars. We're sure hardcore Pixar fans would know one of the most reoccurring Easter egg of the franchise, the famous Luxo ball. You've probably seen it in tons of animated flicks by now. The ball is from Luxo Jr. and has quite the interesting backstory. The little prop is straight out of the studio's first ever short film after the company split from Industrial Light and Magic back in 1996. It's also when they introduced the super famous lamp character we've all seen in the Pixar logo. Every now and then, the studio gives a little nod to its humble beginnings with the ball, which Luxo Jr. trampled in the short. So when fans couldn't spot the red, blue, and yellow ball, they were confused to say the least. They did, however, catch a glimpse of the infamous lamp hiding in the constellation. Last place, we thought we'd find Luxo Jr., but we gotta say we're really impressed at the studio's ingenuity. Fans are pretty convinced that the sneaky little ball's hiding in there somewhere. Up next, there's the possible SpaceX reference. Ever since fans got wind of Buzz's partner, there've been wild speculations about her name and where it supposedly came from. Safe to say they found Hawthorne a pretty interesting choice of name and linked it to space travel and SpaceX. Now, whether it actually has something to do with Elon Musk's space venture or not, that's up for debate. But some fans are really convinced that the whole Hawthorne running mission control thing is actually a nod to where SpaceX mission control is located, which FYI is in Hawthorne, California. Of course, not everyone believes there's a reference there. After all, Hawthorne's not really an uncommon name. Now, for a little real-world reference from Lightyear. Lightyear did not hold back on space-related Easter eggs. They even snuck in a nod in everyone's favorite theme park there. If you visited Disney parks, then you probably recognize the new Star Command base in the movie. Turns out the construction of the base looks a lot like Space Mountain at Disneyland. Fans who visited the mountain say that the attraction does sort of mimic the hyperspace sequences in the movie. Word on the street is it's getting a full re-theme to match the film, which isn't really new for Disney since it keeps on updating its rides to fit its newer franchises. Does that mean Chris Evans might make a surprise appearance there? We sure hope so. Finally, there's an Easter egg that comes back full circle for Buzz Lightyear. If you've grown up watching the entire Toy Story saga, then we bet you watched Lightyear with a wide smile because of all the references. It's a pretty nostalgic ride for sure. For some fans, one of the biggest Easter eggs hidden in Lightyear was his spacesuit. Don't get us wrong, the original spacesuit was really great and all, but it didn't have that familiarity. It wasn't the Space Ranger suit fans grew up watching. So when Buzz upgrades his suit with lasers and wing packs, it was hands down one of the best moments in the film. To top it all off, his ship was shaped exactly like the box Buzz came in Toy Story. And that about wraps up our videos for today, folks. What was your favorite Easter egg from Lightyear? Did we leave any out? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one!